Okay, so I'm back. I was having issues. I basically just spent like 40 minutes floundering around trying to do this search through this tree here. So I'm just gonna come up here to uh, um, Wikipedia. I search for breadth first search, which is this right here. And I'm going to implement this in Python. So this is their implementation here. So this takes a G, which I'm going to call a mapping, and a root. And in this case, I don't really have a root here. I have like a key. So I'll call that my root. So their tree has one single root. Mine doesn't really have a single root here, but that's okay. Okay. So we're going to say let Q be a Q. So I'm going to say that here's our Q and it's a list. And we'll say discovered is equal to a set with root in it. And then we're going to say Q.append root. Okay, and while Q is not empty, while Q, so V is equal to DQ. So that is going to, so a Q, we're sticking things on the end, we're pulling them off on the other side of them. So we're going to say Q is equal to, or V is equal to Q, and we're going to pop 0. If V is the goal, then return V. So if V equals needle return true. For all edges from V to W, for child in mapping.get V, and let's just okay, so for every child in here, if it's not in discovered, if child not in discovered, then we're going to say discovered dot add child, and then we will Q dot append child. Okay, here's our breadth first search. So here's our traverse mapping old. Just pop this down here. And we're going to say for key in mapping. And then we're going to say BFS if BFS mapping key count plus equals 1. Count equals 0. and then we'll return count. Return count. Okay, let's push it up the hill, see what happens here. Needle's not defined. So we need to pass in a needle here. Traverse mapping, mapping and needle. Okay. None object is not iterable. Okay, so we got a .get with a none. So this is returning a none here. We'll just make that an empty list. Okay, count is 0. And let's get rid of this 3 lines here. Still got count as 0. Okay, so that's not working. I'm gonna just get rid of this. So I guess right here we can say if root equals needle, return true. And then otherwise we're going to search down from the root. Okay, we got 0 there. Okay, so I'm going to debug this. I'll use print debugging here. What I'm going to come up here is I'm going to say print. And here's our needle. Just say n comma needle. And then I'm going to come down here and say print, and I'm going to put a tab just so it's indented so I can tell what's going on here. And I'm going to print v here. Okay, so here is what we have. And did I just typo shiny gold bag? Shiny gold bag, shiny gold bag. Traverse mapping, needle is shiny gold bag. If BFS mapping key needle. Mapping root needle. Oh, this needs to be root. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, Yeah, I really need to fix my environment. I'm not sure why it's totally being silly here. I'm gonna comment this out. Let's redirect this now to a file. I'm gonna say temp out, and let's look at temp out. Okay, vibrant gold. Oh, it's not my problem. I'm saying shiny gold bag. Oh, you're kidding me. Gold bag. There's not going to be a gold bag in there. Faded gold, shiny gold. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's try it again. 379. Wow, this was fun. 379. That's not the right answer. Your answer is too high. Okay, so I got 379. Let's what is my length here? Well, let's pipe that back out there and let's look at this. Shiny gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, grep, shiny gold. Pipe that to word count minus line. 379. So let's look at the length of my mapping here. 594. And I got 379. So that's too high. Why am I getting something that's too high? Okay, let me. If BFS so what is our BFS doing? Let's just look at this again. we're getting our root and our needle and our mapping, and we're saying if the root is needle, we return true. Otherwise, we make a queue. We stick our root into discovered, and we stick our root into our queue. And then while we have a queue, we pop off the front of it. We print what we have. If it's the needle, we return true. Otherwise, we loop over the children of V. And if the child is not in discovered, we add that to discovered, and we append that to our queue. Okay, so we're just sticking everything in there, and then we're pulling it back off. And if we haven't seen it, we're looping over the key in mapping. So why would it be too high? Am I not doing something with my file? Shiny gold, mapping shiny gold. I'm at a loss. So, Avery says my keyboard sounds nice. Yeah, I'm hitting it too much though. I wish I wasn't hitting it too much, and my setup is messed up. Yeah, so I do have a mechanical keyboard, and I like it, but I realize it's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm at a loss here. I mean, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, you know, that my port of Wikipedia here was okay. And so maybe I need to write a little test case to make sure that this is okay. My breadth first search of that is okay. But I could step through all the code here, but I'm not really wanting to. Just my environment's being so funky that it's kind of being painful. But I'm pretty sure that, well, I guess it's not right. Count is 0. We're going to loop over the keys, and if we find that, we increment the count, and then we just return the count there. And it's shiny gold. Is it shiny gold? Is that what we're looking for? The number of bags that can eventually contain at least one shiny gold bag is this. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a test case with their input. So, hold on one second. I'm going to go get a drink, and then I will do a test case with their input. So, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's do this test case here. I'm going to use PyTest to do this. So I'm going to make a new test day7.py. I'm going to import day 7 here. I'm going to split my screen. Okay, and let's make a test, def test, part 1 sample input. And I'm going to say that data is equal to, and we'll go to the file here and we'll copy this data. And we'll go back here. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I didn't make my interface use file names, because I don't want to put this in a file. Okay, so here is that, and I'm going to say that mapping is equal to parse lines. Now this isn't lines right now, this is a single line, so I'm going to take my data and split it with a new line. And then I'm going to assert that traverse mapping with the mapping, and assert that this is equal to, I don't know, we'll say 0, it should fail because it should be 4, right? Isn't that what they said? 4? In the above rules, the following options. So the shiny gold bag would be 4. Okay, let's hope that this fails on me. Parse lines is not defined. So this is from day 7. And this is day 7. And parse lines has an underscore in it. Okay, so we got a failure here, and we got output with that. We got 5. Why did we get 5? Okay, so light red goes to shiny gold. Dark orange goes to shiny gold. Bright white goes to shiny gold. Muted yellow goes to shiny gold. Shiny gold goes to shiny gold. So there's shiny gold 1, muted yellow 2, bright white 3, dark orange 4, light red 5. So I need to subtract 1. Is that it? In other words, how many colors can contain, if you wanted to carry it in at least one other bag, how many, oh my word. So it's -1. Okay. So That's my problem. $378. Yay, that's the right answer. Okay. Floundering, floundering, floundering. That was kind of embarrassing. But let's talk about sort of my missteps and what happened. One of my missteps was my implementation of breadth first search, which had some error in it. I spent a half hour trying to get it to work. And then I just said, I'm going to not implement this from scratch and go to Wikipedia. I took this and it was a very straightforward port from Wikipedia to do this. Like, I was going to interview at like a FANG company, breadth first search, because questions like this are pretty common. And so being able to whip this out is useful in an interview situation. I thought I could do it, and apparently after 40 minutes of floundering, like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. So, I mean, maybe what would be good for me now is to take this and go re-implement it, right, and just sort of put it into my brain. Having said that, like, is having breadth first search, like being able to recount it, super important? Yeah, it is if you're in an interview situation. Outside of that, like, I have implemented breadth first search a few times, but also most libraries that you need it have it these days. So we'll say that. So how did I debug my problem though? I mean, I had the port here seemed to work. So how did I debug it? Couple things. One is like the input they have is just too big to, like, I don't want to walk through that. It's like however many lines. How many lines is it? It's 500 lines. So I don't want to walk through that. It's too much for me. But they did have that sample input, and I should have used the sample input from the start to test it rather than just saying, okay, it works and going on the full input. Once I got the sample input, it was easy to figure out that I had one above it because I was counting the gold bag as one, and I need to, if that's the root, I need to ignore that. And so I need to do 1 minus that number. So let's just look at our code here. I did have this class up here. It turns out that I don't need that. I'm going to get rid of that. I've got parse lines here that just makes a dictionary and then loops over each line and updates that. Parse line has my logic in here. I did not use regular expressions to do this. Could I use regular expressions to do this? Yeah, would regular expressions be cleaner? I mean, the issue is you've got this thing contains no bags and contains this. So, I mean, still, I might want to do something like this. If no other is in there, then do nothing. Otherwise, do the regular expression down here. I mean, I guess this is still splitting at the top here. So I'm okay with this. I mean, I'd have to implement the regular expression. The regular expression is probably going to be a few less lines of code. And is it easier to understand? Yeah, maybe. Breadth first search. I mean, I think this breadth first search is pretty easy. I mean, it's a 1 for line mapping, taking the pseudocode. I mean, easy porting the pseudocode. I tried to do a recursive version of that didn't work. They're not using a recursive version here. They're using a queue instead to just fill in the queue and then keep looping till the queue or the list is done. So that does work. I mean, it might be fun to convert that into a recursive solution if you're like want to play around with that. Okay, so that is this part. Let's jump into, well, I'm going to end this here. So hopefully this was useful after my lots of floundering today. Again, takeaway here is that Having a small data set that you can validate and easily like think through is really key to solving some of these issues. And having that small data set from their website actually helped with that. Okay, bye everyone.